There are nearly 50 rainfall warnings in effect right now, stretching from the Maritimes to southeastern Ontario. Some areas could see between 60 and 80 millimeters. In New Brunswick, bad news for the St. John River. The water is frigid, the current is moving extremely quickly. People are being told to stay away from the water's edge, and those who live nearby have been warned.
We're asking New Brunswickers to ensure that they have everything they need to be self-sufficient for 72 hours and be prepared to evacuate if necessary as things evolve over the next couple of days.
Further west, the ground is still too frozen to absorb all that rain, and now all eyes are on the Ottawa and St. Lawrence rivers. The CBC's Matt Demore spent much of the day in Île-Bizarre, just west of Montreal, where residents are scrambling to protect their homes and their communities.
Ian, people here in the Montreal borough of Île-Bizarre know what it means to deal with flooding, and today residents are just trying to stay ahead of the rainfall. Volunteers have come to the parking lot of this public library, and the mission today is to dig into these massive mounds of sand and fill up sandbags as quickly as possible. Other volunteers are going to be coming later with trucks and trailers and vans to load up the sandbags and try to deliver them to the people who need them as quickly as possible. Now, Île-Bizarre is just one of the places in Montreal that's on alert. The city is expecting about 40 millimeters of rain by Saturday afternoon, and officials say that that forecast means that there's a likelihood of flooding. There's an emergency preparedness plan that's been put in place. City crews have been setting up dams and installing inflatable storm drain plugs, among other things. A little bit earlier here, I spoke with a volunteer filling up sandbags. His name is Tausif Badi. We actually first met Mr. Badi 2 years ago during the flooding here in 2017. Badi and his family lost their home, spent more than a year in hotels. They recently moved into their new home, but when they saw that there was this call for volunteers today, they came out to do what they could.
I don't wish anyone to go through that. We will do our best to whatever we can. My kids, they haven't been able to go close to water, So today when they had, they said, we are going. We don't want anyone else to go through this. So whatever we can, we'll try.
Now, there are other parts of Quebec that are on alert. For example, the town of Rigaud is expecting flooding, and it may be worse than what was seen there in 2017. So officials there asking people who live near the water to take precautions, and if possible, they're calling for an evacuation. There's also Gatineau, where city crews are helping to fill up sandbags at pickup locations that people can go to throughout the day in preparation. So those are just some of the places where people are going to be keeping a very close eye on the rainfall and, of course, those water levels. Ian?
And CBC News meteorologist Brett Soderholm is watching all of this for us. And tell us what the next 24 hours will likely look like.
Yes, thank you, Ian. We really have quite a lot of water going to be making its way into the rivers and just across the whole region of eastern Ontario, southern Quebec throughout the next 24 hours, and then pushing into the Maritimes as we get into Sunday and into Monday. Now, this is actually going to pose quite a threat. What you're going to see here on this graphic is our rainfall forecast. We have a huge system bringing in just swaths of rain to southern Quebec and the Maritimes throughout the next 24 to 48 hours. And unfortunately, these totals are quite significant. And just drawing attention here to southern Quebec, we could be getting anywhere between 40 and 60 millimeters by the time that Saturday is through. And this will correspond as well to parts of northern New Brunswick. Now, when you combine this with very warm temperatures in the region, in addition to a lot of melt from that snowpack, these water levels in the rivers are expected to rise to potentially historic levels. And this is something we're going to be watching very closely over the next few days.
And we'll stay on this story on CBC News for sure. Brett, thank you very much.
Thank you.